just thrill me through and through.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Jeffers, ChicagoJazz.com, and welcome to episode 107 of Talkin' Jazz. I am here in Johnny O's with vocalist Gayle Kolb. She has a performance coming up at the Chicago Jazz Festival, August 31st, noon to 1 p.m. at the Heritage Pavilion, and it's featuring music from her brand new CD, Getting Sentimental. The band that's on the CD is going to be there. Let me just run it down, Gabe.
Sure.
Gayle, since I'm on a hot streak here.
Right.
We got Bobby Broom, Tom Garling, Joey Skoch, Dennis Carroll, and George Fludas. What a band.
The best.
And what a vocalist here. And she's got a great story, too. So, Gayle, I'm so happy you made it down here.
Thank you for having me.
And I know we talked a little bit before we came on camera. This is kind of a little historical walk down memory lane coming back into this neighborhood in Bridgeport, which is kind of interesting.
It is. I know. I haven't been here since I've been a kid.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
My father worked in this area.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because a lot of the people that come on the show go, you know, I lived down here at one point, or I've been at, and you would never know it. So it's an interesting little bit of trivia when people come down here and they go, wow, man, you know,
Yes.
I've never been down here before.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. So we are here at Johnny O's. We're talking about Gayle's brand new CD, Getting Sentimental, and also her performance, as I said, at the Chicago Jazz Fest. All of this is happening like super fast all of a sudden, right?
I know. I'm very excited.
So why don't we talk a little bit about the new CD?
All right.
All right. So this came about because, and I love this story because we've talked about it off camera, but why don't we talk a little bit on camera? Now, you were playing professional. You've been playing professionally since you were young.
Yes.
And performing and everything.
Yeah, that was just yesterday.
At least a year.
Yeah,
at least
a
or
year.
two.
Yes.
And then you kind of came to a crossroads in your career and needed a little advice, and that's sort of how this whole thing got started,
That's right. I had walked away from it about 2 years ago. My mom had passed away, and I just went in another direction because I am an interior designer as well by trade and education. And I thought, okay, I'll just do that for a while and just get away from the music.
Yeah.
And I was there for about 2 years, and I was just not feeling it.
Yeah.
And one afternoon, I just said, I'm calling Dennis Carroll because if he could just hear me sing. I wasn't sure if I should even bother with it. I know he'd tell me the truth.
Yeah, because you knew him from playing on gigs.
Yes, and I've always
him.
admired his artistry.
Yeah.
And I know his personality. And he almost said no. He told me later. He said, "Oh, gee, you know." So, but he said, "Yeah, okay, you know." And so I went over to his house one August afternoon. It was a year ago.
Wow.
A year ago, and he said, "Yeah, well, we'll just work out for an hour." I said, "Fine, thank you very much."
Because you wanted to sing a little and just kind of get his feedback and see, should I even bother with this?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. We ended up working out for about 3 hours. I think when he listened to me talk about my background and my parents and growing up, I think he could relate to it.
Okay.
And that he too had a similar experience growing up.
Yeah.
So he kept asking me more questions, and I told him, and then he said, I said, "Well, what do you think, Dennis?" And he said, "I think you should make a CD." And he said, "And I'm going to produce it." And I went, "Okay." And I tried to act rather cool. And I remember getting into my car and going, "Oh." When Dennis Carroll says he's going to do that, you say yes.
Yeah. I mean, and Dennis.
He's such a great artist.
The thing with Dennis too is that he is honest.
Yes.
You know? And
I knew he would be.
good or bad, but that's what artists need.
Well, he deserves to be. I mean, he's put so much effort and work into his own craft.
There's such passion.
He doesn't want to waste any time.
Right.
And he said, "Come back in 2 weeks." And then he said, while you're driving to work, when I was driving a 2-hour commute every day, he said, practice in the car, start singing, get that voice going again, and start thinking of tunes. So I found when I came back 2 weeks later, I was pulling songs that reminded me of Mom, reminded me of Dad, and it just was natural.
Were these tunes that your parents listened to, or
yes,
were they okay?
Danced to. They were great dancers. They loved the orchestras, Glenn Miller and Tommy Dorsey and all of those. And so I pulled it. I said, "Dennis, what do you think of this song?" He said, "I love it," and because his parents loved the same songs. Oh,
that's
so
wild.
he grew up with the same music.
Yeah.
So that's when it all got very interesting.
Right.
And the next time we met, Joey Skoch showed up. And he had called Joey, and he said, all right, let's lay this stuff down. And boom, 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 boom. He didn't waste any time.
Yeah.
And I had a list of things, and he'd either say, no, yes, okay, and we're going to do it this way. And what he wanted to really accomplish is have every song stand on its own 2 feet. Mm-hmm. And so we changed the tempo. When we did Serenade in Blue, it became kind of a bluesy song.
Yeah, it is a bluesy
yeah,
feel.
not
It's
the
like a 6/8,
standard
12/8
way.
kind of feel.
Oh,
yeah.
and I loved it.
Yeah.
And especially when we got into the studio, Bobby Broom joined us. Mm-hmm. And that gave it an entirely different vibe altogether. I really did. I knew who he was, but I didn't really know him. Mm-hmm. And when he walked into the studio, my knees started to shake because I thought, oh my gosh, Bobby Broom. And he couldn't have been. He was so nice.
Yeah, he's a great
and
guy.
he was wonderful. And during the process, there were times when they'd play back the song, and I'd go, oh, and he'd say, stop that, girl. And that sounds great, And he really helped me to believe in it.
Yeah.
And he would critique it too, and say, why don't you try it this way? And then he sat there while we were mixing it, and he just offered to do that.
Oh,
and I
that's
think
great.
it's too because he is very particular about the way everything sounds, and he has ears that don't quit.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
he
yeah.
could hear every wrong little note, and he'd no, go back. He was just marvelous.
Yeah.
Just marvelous.
Yeah.
We couldn't have done it without him. Couldn't have done it without him.
And getting that feedback from somebody like Bobby or somebody like Dennis or somebody
Yes.
like George.
Yes, George
gives
too.
you more. I mean, it's got to help you get the confidence going. Yeah, I actually belong doing this. This is
Well,
so. It's probably just keeps feeding on
And
itself,
George
right?
kept telling the jokes. And he kept everybody laughing.
sounds right.
Yeah, he was wonderful. And he did make some suggestions too.
Yeah.
And then he was the one who suggested that Joey and I do a ballad, just the two of us, at the end. And that came out really kind of nice.
Well, I mean, the recording here is it's dynamite. The other thing
Thank
I
you.
like about this is the selection of tunes, right? Because it's not. I mean, you're talking about. I'm getting Sentimental, Serenade in Blue, which we talked about a little
Yeah.
bit. Gravy Waltz, Two for the Road. I mean, Wing, which is a tune that Dennis wrote, an original.
Right, correct.
And then, I mean, you have Wichita Lineman on here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a really eclectic mix of tunes where it's not just this typical standard thing down. I mean, was that just because of the tunes that your parents really dug and you just didn't care if there was like a theme of jazz or rock or, whatever it is?
It just came out. It
Yeah.
just, one thing led to another. Gravy Waltz was one song that I said, well, let's do a waltz. And this has been in my head. And Dennis, okay. And we played it, and he goes, okay. And then he said, whose idea was this? I said, it was yours. You said to keep it. But we struggled with that one, to make that something.
Yeah.
I did anyway, not so much the musicians.
Well, so when you're performing now, right? So you put the CD out. You're on the Chicago Jazz Festival. I know you're going to start announcing more performances coming up in the fall at some point soon, I'm sure.
Right.
But with the Jazz Fest specific, I mean, August 31st, noon to 1, the Gayle Kolb Sextet. You're going to be at the Heritage Pavilion, right in Millennium Park, and with the same band on there.
Oh.
And, so I assume you're going to just play this recording down for the most part?
We want to promote it.
Yeah.
That
So now let's talk a little bit about your background, though, because it's interesting. You played in Vegas and you played in L.A. and then
did.
you came back to
I
Chicago.
was very.
I mean, you were
I
playing
was very
7 nights
lucky.
a week.
I
it
was
amazing.
very lucky. When I started the music, it came to me.
Yeah.
I never had to struggle to find work. It always came. It always showed up.
Yeah.
And I made a living at it.
Well, I mean, you were playing big showrooms. You were playing 5-6 night a week. Extended runs.
Six.
Yeah.
In L.A., 6 nights a week. Yeah. No.
I mean, and that doesn't happen now, but I mean, then when you came back to Chicago, the Chicago area, you immediately
Found
started
a job.
playing, and because you were thinking about maybe going back to school. Well, I think your parents were thinking about you maybe going back to school. Is that what
They
I
wanted,
read
yes.
somewhere?
Oh, good, she's home from California. And I came in my little Chevy Vega, and I don't know how I ever made it across the country, Route 66. But
Oh, wow.
I did it, and I was home I took about 2 weeks to kind of get my bearings.
Yeah.
And I thought, I went on a few day gig job interviews, and I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to get, have an apartment and be able to
Right.
afford this. I'm used to making this kind of money. So
Right.
I called up the Musicians Union, and I said, any guys looking for a singer? And he sent me over to
amazing?
Hamburger Hamlet in Downers Grove.
No kidding.
And Miles Green was on the keys. And he had a little trio there. And I auditioned, and they said, yeah, okay.
So back, I mean, even back as far like in the 90s, I can remember, because when I joined the Musicians Union, it was like the mid 90s, and there was still some of that where people would say, hey, we're looking for a drummer, looking for a vocalist. But back then, that's really how you found out about the auditions, right?
That's how they did it in Los Angeles.
Okay.
The Musicians Union was very strong, and the agents would actually come and watch your gigs. And,
Oh, they would?
Oh, yeah, they were
Yeah.
friends, and they'd give you tips as to where to go to find them.
Oh,
They were
wow.
very active.
Wow.
So I thought that was the way it was in Chicago. I found it doesn't really work that way here, but at least the guy gave me a lead,
Right.
and I did it, and I got a job. And
That's-
it was about, I think we were there a month.
Was it like a quartet or something?
It
Or
was a
it
trio.
Trio.
Well,
okay.
yeah, I was the singer and then
Yeah.
a trio. And we were there about a month. And John Daniels from the Terrace walked in with his wife one Friday night. And my folks were there. And they had talked about this place. It was gorgeous. And a big showroom. And
Where was the Terrace at?
It was in Elmhurst.
Okay.
Elmhurst on North Avenue. And they had been there, and they had talked about, you wore a long dress, and, it was quite the thing. And John gave me his card that night. And I thought, just another one,
Right, yeah, right.
And I kind of blew him off. And I came home, and I showed Dad. I said, look, this guy talked to me last night, and he said, Gayle, you're getting up at 10 o'clock, and you're going to call him up, and you're going to be very nice. And so I did, and I went over there and interviewed and talked to him, and he was so great. And he said, he offered me a contract. And I said, I don't know anyone in Chicago.
Did he have a group playing in there then?
He
that
did.
the contract
It was
ending
more.
or
It was like a
something, or-
Dixieland kind
Oh,
of thing.
so he wanted to switch
I
things
can't
up.
remember the guy. Yes, he said we're done with that.
Yeah.
But he said, so I'm going to offer you a year,
Wow.
and you find your own musicians and your own group, and you decide what you want to do. And if you get another job like the Playboy Club or Vegas or someone else, you just come to me and you can go. This doesn't, you're not locked in. But
It's like the best of everything.
oh, he was
here.
wonderful. Oh,
Yeah.
and we really, remained friends for many years. He's a good golf buddy.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right.
so that was it, and that just put us on the map.
And you were playing jazz stuff, but also a mixture, probably.
Right,
because-
right. Well, the fellas that I did find, this one, Tom Clem was the guy, and he played B3 with one hand and the piano with the other.
Oh, yeah.
And he sang like David Clayton Thomas. And he was performing at downtown at one of the shows, Jesus Christ Superstar,
Oh.
which was one of the tunes that I did medleys of.
Oh, okay.
And so he could sing, I could sing, the guys in the band could sing. So we could really put a show
Yeah,
together.
yeah,
And
that
it was
changes
fun.
everything.
We did everything.
So you did that
We
for a
did
year,
Broadway
right?
tunes,
did you
rock tunes,
and jazz tunes and Latin
Oh
tunes.
yeah,
and everything.
he was
So-
a great jazz player.
And
too.
it was like a set up as a show. This stuff always fascinates me because
It was a show.
Nowadays, you don't see any of that anymore. But that used to happen in a lot of places, right? A lot
we
of clubs
we had to
everywhere.
do a
Yeah.
show, two shows a night, and they used to line up. They used to line up, and they wanted to hear Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah.
because Tom really did a good job on
Right.
it. He put the arrangements together,
Yeah.
and he could really give
Yeah.
it. And our drummer was really good. He was.
So you did that for a year.
Oh, I did. Ended up staying 4 years.
Oh, 4 years. Oh, well, I don't blame you. I
It
mean,
was
that's a great
renewed.
gig. It's
It
like,
was,
hey,
and
that's
we
awesome.
in between we filled in for Lainey Kazan. She was having health issues, and we had done a party over at the Hyatt, and they called up and said, "Hey, come on over, would you?"
Yeah.
And John said, "Well, as long as she makes the same money."
That's-
So I split it with the guys.
Yeah.
But my mom and I enjoyed the shopping.
Yeah, I bet.
It was really fun.
Well, that's unbelievable.
I never made so much money in my life.
You're doing that, and then obviously you had a family, and you're cranking along doing everything.
Yes,
but then you were playing up until your mom passed away and stuff. So I mean, that had to be like going cold turkey though, where all of a sudden you just stopped.
I remember calling you and saying, "Take me off the list."
Right. Yeah. Right.
I'm changing it.
Yeah.
And I'll call you if I change my mind. And it was, I just kind of went into a different place.
Yeah. Yeah. But it probably always was there. Like,
oh yeah, I just didn't have time.
Yeah.
With the other job, it
Right.
just took my whole life away.
Right. So now you're reborn. You have a brand new CD. So Getting Sentimental. Now I know that this is up on your website, GayleKolb.com. You can get downloads at CD Baby, iTunes, Amazon, all the different places that you want to pick it up. I know that there's starting to get some radio play happening on WDCD.
Yes.
And
They've
a
been
couple
wonderful.
other places around the region here.
Cleveland.
And I know it's getting out to other places now, so we'll see what happens. But I know you're going to have shows coming up. So the main one, though, just to reiterate it, she is going to be at the Chicago Jazz Fest. So it's going to be August 31st, noon to 1 p.m., Gayle Kolb Sextet, featuring Bobby Broom, Tom Garling, Joey Skoch, Dennis Carroll, and George Fludas. And, they're going to be able to pick up the CD there. I'm sure that you'll be available for autographs, if possible.
I'll bring my pencil.
You do play a steady once a month, right, at Tuscany and Oak Brook.
Mm-hmm.
And
with Joey Skoch.
With Joey and a bass player
Doug
usually?
Hayes.
Doug Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
Doug's great.
Yeah,
Doug's
he's
dynamite.
wonderful.
So that's, what is it, the third?
Fourth, the last Tuesday, whatever that is.
Okay,
third or
last
fourth.
Tuesday of the month.
So we're there next Tuesday.
Okay, so they can get all the information at GayleKolb.com.
Yes.
And then you're going to announce new shows coming up on your social media and on your website as well. But obviously, she'll be there at the Chicago Jazz Festival with a pen in hand. After you purchase it, she'll sign it to you and give it right back to you, and you'll have it forever. So be sure to visit the Chicago Jazz Festival, see her live. Gayle, thanks for stopping by, Johnny O's. This is great.
I really
what an incredible
appreciate it.
story. And of course, if you want more information on everything happening at Chicago Jazz Festival or anything happening in jazz, ChicagoJazz.com, ChicagoJazzMagazine.com. And then if she doesn't see you at the Chicago Jazz Festival and I don't see you somewhere around town, hopefully we will both see you somewhere out on the scene.